We're happy to have you here for a presentation that my colleague Noah and I have put together on distance learning and how that relates to applying a student-centered approach. My name is Drew Shantz. I'm a design principal at Education Elements based out of the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Noah Doherty. I work out of the Washington, D.C. office.
So when we talk about distance learning moving forward, we're talking about really intentionally designed learning experiences that engage students, their peers, and their teachers just at a geographical distance. Is that this may or may not be facilitated by the use of technology. We're in front of screens more than we often care to be these days. And I think where I find a lot of kind of creative refuge is thinking about ways that we can leverage non-technological means of learning to engage students in really creative ways. And it occurs in synchronous and asynchronous formats. So that's like a live session, like if you're here with us right now, or if you're watching afterwards, that would be considered asynchronous. There's an innate empathy building piece in a student-centered approach, because we have to think about, as learners ourselves, as students way back when, whether it was 10 years or 50 years or 100 years ago, to truly create a student-centered experience, we have to think about how we were as learners and put ourselves in their shoes to truly deliver an experience that best meets the needs of the students that we're working with. I know this is a tough one for myself and other educators that I know. The need to give up control is really tough because as teachers, we're professionals. We know we've been trained. We've developed our craft. We know how to do what we've been taught to do as teachers, and it's tough to let go of that. So we are shifting our focus from asking the question, what needs to be taught? And that's very adult driven, to what students need to learn. So that's really thinking about the student perspective. What is it going to take for them to be successful in completing a program of study? What does it mean to be a successful graduate? Those kind of questions are really putting students at the center of designing that entire learning experience.
We can't just approach distance learning as a checklist, as something to do. We also have to shift our approach to learning. And we believe there are 4 ways of doing that. One, really, where we keep equity front of mind in how we approach student-centered distance learning. Another is taking advantage of the flexibility that comes with distance learning and really leaning into that in a lot of different ways. Third is promoting choice as much as possible, because we know there are a lot of very real benefits for students when we do that. And third is really being intentional with our actions, really thinking about this as the actions that we're taking to really make sure that we're meeting the needs of our students. We name that equity really requires us to deeply understand our students so that we can really provide them with supports that they need. And we would suggest that when we think about equity, we want to think about it in 3 different ways. So traditionally, when educators have thought about equity, we think about it in terms of support. How do we make sure that every student is getting the amount and form of support that they need to be successful? But we also want to make sure that as we're actually creating this new system of student-centered distance learning, we want to make sure that this is a system that is designed to do that, right? Like oftentimes we're coming up against systems that treat all students the exact same way, and we're trying to add an additional amounts of support that in a system that's not really designed to do that. So if we're designing a brand new system, how can we be really, really intentional about making sure that that system is meant to really support every single student? And the third thing that's really important for us to think about when we think about equity is ourselves, right? We need to really deeply understand our students to make sure that we're giving them the support that they need. And that requires us to do work on ourselves to make sure that we've unpacked our own biases, the assumptions that we make about our students that we realize we're making, or that we are not, or that we don't realize that we're making.
Thanks, everyone. We appreciate your time, and we hope to see you at a future webinar.